back to first take. Joel Embiid returned to the Sixers for Game 4 after an emergency appendectomy less than 3 weeks ago. Embiid did have 26 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 dimes, but the Sixers did not have much to show for it. They totally got blown out by the Celtics, 128-96. Tyrese Maxey only took 3 shots in the first half. And if the Sixers lose one more game, their season is over. So now the question is it time for the process to come to an end and possibly for Philadelphia to move on from Embiid? What do you think, Stephen A?
Big Perk has mentioned this on numerous occasions about potentially moving on from Embiid. The reason I'm averse to it, I don't agree with it, is because I don't think you can get anything for him because he is always injured. And nobody's going to give up any real assets for him. On one leg, I watched his brother average 35 in a playoff series against the Knicks a couple of years ago. I think that Embiid, if healthy, is one of the greatest big men to have ever played basketball. Unfortunately, he's never healthy. He came into the league missing the first 2 years of his career due to injuries, literally the first 2 years of his career. Mm-hmm. But believe it or not, I don't find him to be the biggest problem. They should have never brought Paul George in. You didn't need him. Paul George, one of the best people I know. I wish he had stayed in Los Angeles and signed his 3-year deal. I can't knock him for the 4 years, $212 million that he signed for. Good dude, damn good player, all-star caliber player when healthy, no doubt about it. One of the best people I know. But you didn't need him if you were Philly. Which gets us to Daryl Morey. I think the time has come for him. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve to be an executive in this league or whatever, but he ain't built for Philly. Too analytical. Philly don't give a damn about that. That's a blue-collar city. They don't care about MIT. They don't care about data analytics. Mm-hmm. They don't want somebody there that's going to tell you things are better than you think because the numbers say that. This is Philadelphia. They could give 2 frog fat behinds about that. They don't care, okay? They care about that. That's blue-collar city. This is Philadelphia. You talk to somebody that worked there for 17 years and was a columnist for the last 7 years of my career there. I know Philadelphia. That's second home to me. I'm telling you, I ain't asking you. They don't give a damn about that. And they need a leader that is about basketball, that when he speaks with authority. When he opens his mouth, you listen because you know he has the credentials and he ain't relying on just analytics. He's relying on what the hell those 2 eyes of his see. Now, I know he's going to be mad about me saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Months ago, the former 4-time champion executive that worked with me and Big Perk the last couple of years doing NBA Countdown, named Bob Myers, all right, was elevated within the Sixers organization. Let's stop playing damn games. Philadelphia needs that man running that damn basketball franchise. Daryl Morey needs to go someplace else and where that analytic stuff is going to be sold and it's all right because they ain't buying it in Philly. They're just not. That's just the truth. All right, you bring Paul George there, that ain't working. VJ Edgecombe and Tyrese Maxey are the future of this franchise. We're praying that Joel Embiid is healthy enough every April. That's what it comes down to. Philadelphia got romped yesterday because they're an inferior team, and if they ain't careful and they don't get their act together, Tyrese Maxey's going to run up out of there. Because why, as great as he is, sit around and be subjected to this? He's not going to put up with it, I'm telling y'all.
No, I agree 1,000%. It's time for a change, and it's time to change and move some furniture in that front office as far as Daryl Morey. And I'm with you and say you can't move Embiid at this point because he doesn't have any value. But when you think about Philly, just over the last 3 years, the only thing that's been coming out of that from that organization is drama. Whether it's been the James Harden breakup and him being traded away, or Joel Embiid, being rushed back or should have had some type of structure in place or whatever the case may be, it's been nothing but drama and not enough winning in the postseason when it matters the most. And here's the problem. I don't believe it's going to be easy to trade Paul George. Nobody's going to want to take that money on for PG, not the way that he's been playing. So now you're stuck with it. The biggest thing for Philly this offseason is that they got to start establishing some type of foundation and some type of culture over there. And I'm with you. If they don't, you don't want to be on the verge of having to lose a bright young superstar on the rise in Tyrese Maxey, so they got to get their stuff together.
And let's call it, and let's keep it a buck, Perk. The only reason Paul George is there, and again, we're not saying that Paul George don't deserve to be in this league and he ain't an all-star caliber player when healthy. We love Paul George. But the point is, the only reason he in Philly was because Daryl Morey was trying to save his own ass, because he knew he needed to do something, because he was getting some heat, because of the way the Sixers were looking. That's all. He did it to save himself. I'm sorry, Daryl Morey. I got respect for you and love for you, but damn it, it's the truth. He's not the right man for Philly. He could be an executive other places, but that data analytics and MIT stuff, that ain't flying in Philly. They don't care. And the bottom line is he did the Paul George thing because of himself, not because it was better for the Philadelphia 76ers. And now it's coming back to haunt them, because that's $212 million you could have utilized elsewhere, and Paul George could have stayed in L.A.
Some people might be seeing this like, hey, the series isn't even over yet. But the unfortunate matter of
It's
it
over.
is the 76ers have lost all, I believe it's.
I got Shump up with us here, and Monica, I'll start with you. I mean, Embiid, if you just look at the stat sheet and you see his numbers, you're going to think, oh, he played fairly well in his return. That's not what the eyes would suggest. What did you think of the Sixers with him back on the floor?
The appendectomy thing was like, oh, cool, valiant effort. But this team was slow. And in order for them to have a real opportunity to compete with the Celtics, they got to get the same amount of shots up. They got to get it moving. Behind the power of Maxey and Edgecombe, they've been playing fast. They've been able to find success that way during the course of the regular season. I just thought it was too slow with Joel Embiid on the floor, too clunky.
Shump, here's the problem. I'd love you to explain this, because you played in the league a long time and you played with superstars. I mean, Joel Embiid is a superstar, and if he says, I want to come back and play, they're going to bring him back and play. But then you've got to figure out, well, we actually, at least at this particular moment in time in this series, we probably were better without him. How do you walk that line, Shump?
Well, it's tough, because the only chance that you have to actually put yourself in this series is to play Joel Embiid. But it's much like McNutt was just saying. It was clunky. It was slow. It was lethargic. It was obvious that he wasn't in that lineup. And to say that you're going to do that against the Boston Celtics, who are going to play 9 to 10 guys, who are going to keep the game fast, keep the pace up, and then have guys in their backcourt to do what they do as far as shooting behind the three-point line, which can either put you out of a game or put you back into a game really, really fast. It just didn't work out. The two don't mix. And the Sixers took the short end of the stick last night.
Listen, in this league where we complain so much about players and availability, you cannot criticize a player for making himself available to his team in the playoffs. With that being said, why did he need to start? Why did he need to be in the starting lineup of a team that offensively was not having any problems? Their backcourt was playing fast. Bring him off the bench. Let him come in, ease his way in. Why did you have to take all the shots, more shots than anybody on the team? You haven't played in weeks. Your team did not need any of that. You know what they needed? They needed a rebound, Greeny.
Yeah.
They needed a rebound. They had 0 offensive rebounds in the first half. They were not shooting the ball well. He ruined everything, and that was not his intent.
That's why, Shump, I was asking you the question, because Alan and I were having this conversation before the show, and I get what you're saying.
It's maddening to watch.
If you're Embiid and if he says, I want to come back and I want to start, like, who's telling him, no, big fella, like, I know that you're our franchise and that you're here for 3 more years, but we need you to ease your way back in because we're playing better with that. Like, how do you handle that going forward now?
Well, I think Joel Embiid is such a player in this league that you have to give him the nod and start him. But I do agree with Alan, when you start to see an offense that's slowing down like that, even though it was encouraging. I know it's very encouraging to see Joel Embiid start cheering the crowd on. He was telling them, give me more, and, walking, doing his usual 1-2. That's good to see. But I would have thought it would have been alarming in the first half to sit there and say, Maxey only has 3 shots. He's not really getting going. He's not in the flow. He's not getting to different spots on the floor to make other people weapons. It kind of was pass and stand around to see what the next guy can do. They got to stay away from that if they want to have any sort of cohesion to keep this series alive.
And, oh, by the way, while Peyton Pritchard was having the game of his life, Monica, Jason Tatum just continues to look ridiculously good. What are you seeing in him and them now 4 games into these playoffs?
And he is, first of all, he's already been a great player in the league, but he's getting more and more confident in this calendar year with the return and less than 20 regular season games under his belt. But the double-double last night or yesterday afternoon, the three-point shooting, I mean, his ability still to lock in as a defender, he just looks more and more confident. And Greeny, we talked about this after game one. And yes, the Sixers did win a game. But in fact, I would argue that this series has represented the extended ramp up. He's gotten better in my mind game to game. And it's not always based on the final box score, but as you watch him physically, he looks more and more like himself.
Quick on Tatum.
Well, Tatum, it's just good to see him where he is right now. And the Celtics, they're really starting to look like